Devilman's Dues. I paid my dues, I still owe some more. That devil man, he's at my door. Pay my dues, I still owe a little more. Oh, the devil man, he's been knocking on my door. Oh, the devil man, I'm in debt, one soul. Well, ain't settling up, out the back I go. Oh, the devil man, I'm in debt, one soul. Ain't settling up, out the back door I go. Well, I never ran, I ran so fast. The blues follow me, keep me feeling bad. I never ran so fast. Blues follow me, keep me feeling so bad. Well, I won't be bad no more. Please, devil man, don't you take my only soul. I won't be bad no more. I won't be bad no more. All right, cut me loose. Why you cut me loose, honey? You know I treated you well. Why you cut me loose, honey? You know I treated you well. You went and found a new man, you left me by myself. When my baby cut me loose, I drank my pain away. When my baby cut me loose, I drank my pain away. There ain't enough whiskey to make me feel okay. Chance, baby, if you please. I said, come on, honey, won't you give me one more chance? I said, come on, honey, won't you give me one more chance? Well, I love you better, honey, better than any other man. Chance. Well, come on, honey, won't you give me one more chance? Well, I love you better, baby. Well, I love you better, baby. Well, I love you better, baby. Better than any other man.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about, and it's a podcast about what our guest is passionate about. We are lucky, thrilled, excited, over the moon, losing our mind. We're living in the blues right now, you know? And we're so excited to have the very amazingly talented Lyle Odjick onto the show today. Lyle, how are you?
I'm excellent, Warren. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. Just listening to you rip off the blues, and everyone else will have just heard them. What were the names of those two songs again?
The slower one was Devil Man's Dues. That was the first song I've ever written in my life. And the second one I did was Cut Me Loose. That was the shuffle with the harmonica on it.
Nice. Okay, well, let's get into it. You are a man of the blues, and I think that's awesome. We've only had one other blues person on here, so I love the blues, so I think that's amazing. So let's start with when did Lyle find the blues?
The first blues lick I ever heard in my life was my dad playing a quick little 12-bar riff on the guitar, and then he wasn't able to do the full with the turnaround and the 5-chord and all that stuff, and it kind of conk out. But he's like, oh, it's in there somewhere, and that kind of hooked me onto it. So I like the way that sounds, and then kind of forgot about it for quite a while. And then years later, around 19 years old, I started hearing Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and the real deal Chicago blues music, and then was instantly hooked from there. Especially being a harmonica player, I was like, oh, this is where my instrument belongs, and this is where I'm going to start learning and trying to imitate the pros that made this instrument what it was.
About how old is he again?
19? Yeah, about 19, I'd say. Maybe 18, 19 when I started really getting into the blues.
Wicked. That's cool. And so before that, growing up, were you into a lot of music?
Definitely, yeah. Come from a pretty musical family. Every weekend at home, we'd have MTV on with music videos and listen to a lot of rock and roll or some CMT, some country music and stuff like that. But as well, I have uncles at my grandfather as well. They all play fiddle and some more folk and bluegrass style music.
Okay.
So I grew up listening to a lot of that as well, at family gatherings and whatnot.
Yeah, bluegrass is not easy to play, and it's actually quite entertaining,
Oh, yeah,
especially live, I find, right? It's like you can really connect with those instruments going so fast and doing wild stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. It really gets the party going when the bluegrass players get the picking and fiddling, and dance floor instantly gets packed with people.
Yeah, so you brought up like the family influence already. Like a lot of people on the show have like a brother or a sister or a father or somebody in their family that like really influenced them musically. So it sounds like your dad kind of sparked something with the blues there, and then your whole family, you said, was musical growing up.
Yeah.
And so I mean, what was growing up for Lyle like? Where were you born?
Born and raised in Kitigan-Zibi, Anishinaabe Reserve. It's about an hour and a half north of Ottawa here. And grew up there till I was about 17, graduated high school, then moved here to go to college and all that kind of stuff. And then dropped out of college, became a bartender, and started hearing a lot more live music in the bar and like open mics and stuff like that, and hearing people play blues. And I was like, oh, I do that in my apartment day in and day out. Maybe I should try getting on stage and doing that for people one day, since they seem to respond to it.
Ah, very cool. Yeah. So what was it like growing up on a reserve? Have no idea. What would it be like?
It's a very small town, and it's not a whole lot to do, but there's music to be played, and a lot of hockey, and a lot of outdoors time. It's a lot of beautiful nature and clean lakes to swim and fish in, and plenty of forests. It's grew up like riding ATVs and fishing and hunting and this kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. So you know how to fish, you know how to hunt, do all that stuff. That's cool. I grew up in a small town, and like I should know how to fish and hunt, and like I did do some fishing, but I just don't. Like I see a lot of my friends or people that I know from the community back home, they'll post like when they take down a buck or whatever that they're proud of and this and that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to do it. But you know, it's cool, these communities where you get skills and traditions passed on like that, where you learn how to do these things like that. For me, I don't know. I was never good with my hands that way, I found, but maybe I'm just making excuses for my sissy boyness, but you know,
that's not for everybody, but it's quite the challenge. Like especially for big game hunting, when it comes to like deer or moose or something like that, it's like physically exhausting to try to get this thing out of the bush once it's down, right?
Okay, yeah. So it is like a lot of work. It's not like just easy to hunt animals, I guess.
Not at all, no.
Okay,
sometimes you get lucky and maybe get lucky and get one when you're not so far into the sticks, kind of thing, and it's like right on a trail or something. But most of the time, it's where it falls and drops. You have to go tow it out by hand.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know anything about it whatsoever, but I watch this show sometimes called Naked and Afraid. Okay. And they make them, I don't know if they set it up. It's reality TV, so they probably set everything up. But they go out and they hunt stuff, right? Because they're just naked and they'll try and hunt whatever. And when they do get a kill, it's like, it's massive because they're starving.
Yeah.
And it's just like a huge euphoric experience for them. And I guess that's part of it, you know, like this.
I'm sure not dying of starvation is a good feeling.
Oh, good point. Good point. Good point. So, all right. We went to, what were you like in high school? Were you a troublemaker? Were you an artist? Were you?
Was more of into the books and trying to get the good grades and all that kind of stuff. And because that's what all the older people were telling us, like, do good in school and go on and go to college and get your diploma and get a good job. And that was the thing that was repeated, or either that or train hard, become an NHL hockey player. And these are your two most likely paths to success coming from where we come from. And there was never really any push towards doing music and all that kind of stuff. But there's some people that played here and there, but there wasn't, it wasn't one of the most pushed things. Like we didn't have a music class in high school or anything like that. Learning guitar was, the older you try to go sit next to one of the older guys that don't know how to play and steal some chords off him when you're strumming away in the hallway kind of thing on break.
Okay.
Come and bring your guitar and pop a squat and like, what was that chord, or what's the,
what was that you were doing?
Yeah, what were you doing there? Show me that. And then you just got to remember it and go from there and steal tips and tricks as you go.
Oh, very cool.
The days before YouTube lessons and YouTube University.
Right? You have to rely on real people and real friends and figure stuff out like that. It's so true. It's very different now.
Somebody has to show you how to play Smoke on the Water instead of looking it up online.
Yeah, exactly. So you're doing that. In my school, it was no different. People were telling us like, go to college, do this. No one was like really telling me, like, I was always into art, and people, my teachers even were like, you can't make money at art. Like, you can't.
Discouraged the idea.
Yes, exactly. And I'd be like, well, come on. Like, isn't there something? It's like, probably not.
Probably not.
You know? And I get it. But at the same time, like, where would we be in this world without artists and people who create and look to like expand our minds and bring us to cool places and let us escape whatever this reality is for a little while in a positive way. So yeah, I did my thing. And so in high school, you're coming out of that, obviously 18, 19, you find the blues. And then how long does it take you to like hone in on it, get pretty decent at it?
So I started playing harmonica at a very young age. My grandmother bought me my first harmonica for Christmas when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. Came with a little book that teaches you like kids lullabies and all these kind of things. And I wasn't really into those at the time, but like, because I was getting a bit older and I was like, okay, I was able to execute them, but I wasn't as excited about it. Oh, that's cool. Sounds nice and all that stuff, but I don't see any application for it until, like I said, years later, 18, 19 years old, I hear the classic Muddy Waters, and with the harp and everything. I was like, oh, what do we have here? And that's harmonica. That's what it could do. Okay, that's what I want to do.
That's fascinating that you learned the harp and then discovered the blues. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool, man.
Yeah, it was a funny turn of events. Like I never knew what the potential of the instrument until I heard like blues music with proper harmonica playing and all that kind of stuff.
Like another family connection, like where your grandma comes in and she gives you like one piece of that musical story. Your dad comes in, he fills in like another piece of the musical story. And I find it's unique for you, for your story, but I keep finding people, it's so important, like what you do with your family, like what you do, little things like that with music it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it makes a lasting lifetime type of impression on you.
Definitely nudge me in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what else? What do we want to go to now? Well, let's talk about how in 2022, the Maple Blues Awards nominated you for New Artist of the Year. How did you find out that happened?
That was a wild discovery, actually. I knew about roughly the time of year when the nominations come out. I wasn't really expecting to be listed in any of these things, but I always check out, like every year I check out to see which names are hot this year and all that kind of stuff, or who's new and exciting and all those kind of things. And then I'm scrolling down the lists at the morning of, and my name pops up under the New Artist of the Year category. I was like, well, what now? Holy bleep. Like I was losing my mind in my living room, like just running back and forth. Am I dreaming here? Like,
did you know that like you submitted for a nomination or anything like that? Like you had no idea, right?
No, there's no submissions for that one. It was just I guess they
just pick you.
Yeah, they pick 5 acts. Well, I think that year is 5 acts from across the country, and there's 2 from Ottawa, myself and Angelique Francis.
Good company to be in. Yeah, absolutely.
I was very very happy to be included that year, and it was a life changing moment, like being in Toronto at the Maple Blues Awards and seeing your name on the big screen with the rest of the big shots, you know.
Yeah, and it's affirming, right? Yeah. Like it's just like, oh, I'm in the right place.
I think I'm doing something right.
I'm doing something right. I'm in the right place, and yeah, it is very affirming. And I know what you mean. And I was never nominated for anything that prestigious, but like I remember waking up and seeing our song in the top 40 and just being like, what?
Yeah.
Like, no, what? That guy's name's Ozzy Osbourne. What is my band's name doing on the same list?
That's crazy, yeah.
You know, like, so I get that feeling of like that affirmation or going to a good festival, like Blues Fest. You've played Blues Fest 3 times?
Yeah, I think about 3 times. One of them being the drive-in edition during COVID, like the 2020 when it was first shut down kind of thing.
Really?
That was an interesting experience.
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind. Yeah, there was like 400 or 500 cars in a parking lot, all like looking like they're lined up to watch a drive-in movie, but they're watching concerts on stage with 2 stages rotating back to back, I believe.
Wow. That must have been something else. Like, I always tell people, like, yeah, one day I'm going to be in a history book and it's going to show me behind one of these plexiglass where I'm performing for a room of 50 people following all these, rules and regulations. But you one up me big time there, like a rotating stage.
Well,
and, like,
it wasn't rotating. It was like there's 2 stages side by side. Like the camera would
change over
from act to act, so they're not waiting like half hour for tear down and reset up between acts.
Smart. But that's so cool. And so that was one of your blues fests. You got to experience it on a normal year?
Yeah. The first one was, I believe, 2018, I want to say. Yeah, 2018, I think, was our first year playing Blues Fest. And then the most recent time was 2022, I want to say, or 20, yeah. Because those fun festival, it's pretty crazy when you're backstage and you see your name on a trailer. And it's like, oh, we have our own trailer and there's a cooler full of beer that just continuously gets restocked. This is crazy.
Man, it was funny. And the beer story for us was like, my guys were like excited or nervous or something because they were like, can I have some beer? And they were like, you know what? We'll take your order. And as soon as you get off stage, there's going to be a big thing, like as much as you want for the rest of the night. And I'm like, thank you. Like, gosh, sometimes you can get nervous to have a couple beers too many. It's possible to do. Even at Blues Fest. So I'm glad that we didn't have that happen to us.
Yeah, don't want to blow a big performance opportunity from being a little too nervous and drinking a little too much too fast.
Right. What a horrible thing to do, right? And so was there any like harmonica players that you've like run into that have been like, hey, like I'm the harmonica guy?
No, the harp player community is actually pretty welcoming, and like because there's so few of us around as it is, we've been pretty usually pretty stoked of being another harp player. Like even I've like prime example when I first met Steve Mariner, who's an Ottawa boy, killer harp player, plays in Monkey Junk, and he's like super cool and super nice and like very what's the word like motivated me to like keep going and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, being positive, giving you
super good support and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Like I remember when we were at Blues Fest, I'm trying to think of his name. He was an incredible harp player who was on after us, French fellow. Goodness me, I'll put it in the comments, folks. It's gonna come to me later. But he was the first time I ever saw someone with the belt.
That's probably Guy Boulanger.
That's exactly who it was. He's
a good player, yeah.
Yeah, that was a wicked show. Like when I got off stage and I was like, oh, what is this? And that's one of the great things about being a musician too. I find, like I tell people, like before I go on stage at the Horseshoe in Toronto or like whatever, like I'm looking for like that outdoor stage music, like those people that are just playing in the street and like doing a wicked job of it. Like sometimes I find rap shows in Toronto that are going on. I'm like, this is epic. And just take it in for 10 minutes. I love it. And same with a festival. Like the fact you get to enjoy other people's artwork is just like one of these bonuses when you're there.
Yeah, especially when they're playing on your stage and you're able to like run into them backstage after and like actually get yourself a little meet and greet for if it's an artist that you look up to or something like that.
But the belt is epic. Like
for sure.
It's very cool that you can like whip those things out like that. It is like the cool factor of the harmonica that I didn't know existed. Like, but once I saw it, I was like, that's epic.
It's a must-have for a frontman harp player. I have myself one as well, but mine has a little mic pouch on it, and so I could pop between playing guitar and harmonica like mid-show without like making people wait like 20 seconds or whatever for me to put things down and pick things back up. Usually, like band will be ending a song, I'm already walking towards the
don't worry about it. No worries. It's okay. Sorry, folks. I had something in the way for him there, and
no worries. Anyways, but usually have it set up so I could just pop the mic into the pouch and harp into the holster and then pick up the guitar and ready to kick off the next song. And
awesome.
Minimal wait time in between tunage.
Cool. And then we're talking about the community there. So there's people like Tony D that I saw, you're friends with, Jesse Green. You mentioned Angelique Francis. Fantastic blues players and musicians in Ottawa. And they're all a good community. Like you said, Monkey Junk, Steve Mariner, all those guys have been good to you, right?
Oh yeah, all great people. I've played with most of those people either on stage or have been like on the same bill. Like for example, a highlight of my earlier career was playing Juno Fest at the Rainbow, where Paul Reddick from Toronto was the Juno Blues winner that year, and he was headlining an act there, supported by Monkey Junk, us, and Angelique Francis. And it was just a stellar night of music. It was a packed house, and it's a surreal feeling, like rocking the tunes, and then you have a full dance floor, people just sweating and getting down and having the best time ever.
I think that's awesome about the blues community is that you can like find these accomplished musicians who they're clearly talented and put the work in and all that. And it's not about, I don't know, it's different than the rock game. It's different than the pop game, right?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it's like you're able to earn that musicianship respect in the blues. Maybe you're not able to make more money or necessarily, but at least you can gain that level of respect within the community. Where I feel in rock music, right, there's this separating force where it's like, if I get to open for the Lazies, that's awesome. Like because they're touring and they're selling stuff and they're doing well.
A great Aussie band, yeah.
Right. But like if I was to get to open for like the Rolling Stones, that would change my life. Like that'd be like, you know what I mean? It's this weird thing. But I guess in the blues, you have people like that too. Like if you were to open for, what's his name? I saw him live at Blues Fest. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, if you were to open for a very big blues artist, it'd be the same thing.
It's like a buddy guy or somebody like that.
Exactly. There's guys like legends like that for sure in the community. But I just think the communities itself have done better, like Maple Blues Awards and like whatever it is, the trip to Memphis or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
and like
Road to Memphis.
Road to Memphis. Like, I just think those community-based things that they've set up are like so important and brilliant because it's building the community and like people can find it. Young people can find it and then go,
for sure.
Oh, I can get into this and find mentors who aren't going to try and betray me, which is in rock music sometimes a thing. So, you know, I definitely think it's wicked.
Good to know. I was thinking about recording a rock album. Now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, be careful with us rockers, man. We're not like the blues people. We're definitely not as good as the blues. Like, I remember when the Blues Brothers came on when I was like 5 years old, and I was like, "This is the coolest shit in the world. There's nothing cooler than this." And so yeah, I've always loved the blues, but maybe it's like I've always loved character as well, like characters, strong characters and plays, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I find the blues automatically adds an edge of cool, an edge of class, an edge of down and out, all these different little elements that I think give you some coolness, you know?
Awesome.
Which is why it's never going to go away, folks. Blues is never going away, ever. Which is a good thing. So 2022, you get nominated, but you also that year released Through the Rain.
Yeah.
And it hit number 6 on the Roots Music Radio chart, which is a big deal, folks. That's actually really impressive and cool that it did that. I mean, did you have to promote that, put a lot into that to make that happen?
Sort of. What I did, I guess one of the right moves I did that I pulled that year when I released was I hired a publicist that would help me reach out to the radio station, the contacts at radio stations, and send them like the album and with her company name or her on the envelope and all that kind of stuff. So they see that and they go, oh, she knows what I like. This might be worth a listen. And then they check it out and actually put the effort into checking it out. And then if they like it, they end up playing it on their shows. And it was awesome experience when because I was one of the other things I checked just for fun every now and then, even before I had an album. Let's see what the charts are like, if there's any new albums out that I should be checking out, you know. And then after ours was out 1 week, I checked. I was like, oh wow, I think we debuted at like number 13, like when we came in at number 13, and then the following week dropped down to like 23, and then the third week somebody messaged me, check the Blues Report right now, and I was like, oh wow, what's happening? And checked, and we're at number 6. I was like, wow, third weekend number 6, that's surreal. That's like you were saying, when there's those other names that you're looking at, it's like, yo, there's this guy, there's that guy.
Yeah. Like, how do I get there? What the heck?
What am I doing in this crowd?
Yeah,
it's not where I parked my car.
It's a great feeling of affirmation for sure, and it's a thing. Like the Roots chart it's just different than it's like the blues and you're competing against a few things, not just the blues in that chart. So I
There's
mean,
folk and there's
so it's impressive that you're able to do well. And that album was produced by Jason Fryer,
yeah, that's Tone King Records.
Tone King Records. And is that like the record label as well that you're under?
So they're an independent label, and it's run by some friends of mine. Jason Fryer is the guitarist for River City Junction, another blues rock band.
Wow. Okay.
So I hit it off with these guys like when I first got onto the scene, and started sitting in with them at a lot of shows just as a sideman harp player and getting my chops up and all that kind of stuff, and my stage experience. And then we became such good friends, and he's like, "Oh, he showed me some of the stuff in his studio and what he was recording, and he told me like he wants to record us, and he'll keep us sounding as bluesy as we want to be, you know, and not try to change the sound too much."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm down. Let's go. Let's do that." And we did that's where we decided to do the Through the Rain album, and it was quite the experience.
Now, you'd never worked with a producer before, I'm guessing?
No, I never recorded, never worked with a producer, but it was a learning experience and a good time.
Yeah, it's a recording, and there's nothing like it. It's just like you go into this other universe.
Different
where,
ball game.
Yeah, all that matters is like these sounds and these noises that you're making, and then you're like, okay, you take a break, and you're like, there's other life. It's not just about this like song and making sure that it's exactly what we want, but like, yeah, I love the studio process. And was he like pushing you? Was he just being supportive? I mean, it was your first time, so I mean,
bit of both. Like when it came to the music stuff, he was like pushing us to make sure the timing, the tempo was like on point and all that kind of stuff. And even when like solos and this and that, that's like take another take. That's you could do a bit better. You could do a bit better and all that kind of stuff. And then vocally, I did all the music I did there. The vocals I tried doing there for a bit, and we just weren't able to get some good takes out. And I don't know if it wasn't because we're too close to friends. He wasn't willing to push me hard enough and like be an asshole to me that I need to be, you know, that he needed
I
him
hear
to be.
you.
But anyways, my keyboardist in my band as well, he has a studio in his basement, and I ended up going over there to try to work on some vocal stuff with him, and he really drilled me hard. It was like in a 9-hour session of just like retakes and like trying new inflections for different lines and all that kind of stuff.
And I bet when you were done, you were like, a week later, you were like, that made me better.
Yeah,
like, I leveled up in this process.
Yeah, I walked out of his place like knowing how to maneuver around my voice a lot better, kind of thing.
Yeah. See, like Jason didn't want to scare you. He he didn't want to like scare you away. He's like, you're doing great, but at the same time, it's great that you found somebody that was willing to squeeze it out of you a little bit more. It's normal. It's absolutely normal.
Oh, for sure. It was one of those like, why you cut me? Stop flat, stop sharp, and then like as soon as I'd fall flat, they'd like cut from the top.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is how it goes. Let's work until we get this. And
I had some songs.
I don't shy away from hard work, so I was ready to put in the effort and get better on the fly. You know.
Excellent. I've had songs where I've had like 100 takes, I think. So I mean, I've been there, and I mean, maybe once in the old days, folks. Most of the time, it's 8 takes, and if as long as I'm prepared, which is the plan.
Yeah.
So be prepared. Come do 6 to 8 takes. After 6 takes, I'm normally like, I'm done. Like, I gave you some good in there.
There has to be something in there.
And then he squeezes out 2 more out of me just to make sure, you know, and that's generally how I've the formula I've come to with it when doing takes, rather live off the floor, which is like what we're all working towards, but it's not easy, especially when you're doing an album and you're trying to achieve perfection in all these different areas. So again, there's all the learning lessons of recording, right, that you go through, and it's like, it's so much fun, and you come out better. Like you come out way better, I find. Oh,
big time. Yeah. There's a lot of hard work, and you learn on the fly, and it's kind of a sink or swim situation.
Right? Yeah. You either do what you said you were going to do, or what. I always get trapped. Like the first album, I was like, are we ever going to get out of here? Like, I'm never going to finish this. Like, it's never going to get done.
Start doubting.
And because I'm the vocalist and I have to wait, I'm last. So everyone's going, and I'm just like, oh God, they're never going to finish. He's not going to get it. And then I only have a day left. And
It's like, am I even gonna get any takes in?
yeah, generally I only get like 4 or 5 hours, to be honest with you. Like everyone else takes up all the time, then I'm the icing on the cake.
Mhm.
But it's like at the same time, it's important icing. So I try and be ready and like print everything, get everything ready when they're all prepping, doing their stuff and recording. Then I'm prepping. And then I just drink honey lemon tea like mad because like I'm belting. Like and rather than like my producers being like, "Oh, Warren, you're being, be louder." They're normally like, "Okay, you're loud enough." No, they're squeezing me. He's squeezing me too, and that's why I have the honey lemon tea.
Yeah,
Because I'm like getting worn out, getting all worn out really fast.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna ask, like, because you sing at a higher range and for pushing it for rock songs, like, what's your vocal remedies to like heal your instrument?
There is like essential oils and that you can get like in like a vapor thing. That,
cool.
Because I saw Cody from Crown Lands actually use it after on stage, and like him and Kevin were switching, so Cody like left the drum kit and ran backstage, downed a beer, and then he started huffing on this thing, and I was like, "There's no way that this dude, this incredible vocalist, is huffing on like." I thought it was like vape,
I thought he was having an asthma attack, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't know, like, because he's like, and then afterwards I asked him, and he's like, "Oh, no, he gave me the website, and I can't remember, it started with an H, but like you could find it. It's like essential oils for your voice."
That's cool.
And it just like, he just did that quickly, then went back up on stage after Kevin finished his solo or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me touch briefly on that. I mean, this became a big thing with Buffy St. Marie, where people said, the whole thing where they said whether she's native or not.
Yeah.
Did the native community talk about that at all, or the indigenous community? I apologize.
All good. Yes, it was quite the big thing. Like there was a lot of people quite upset about it. Then there was some people that like didn't care, and then there's like a lot of people. It was discussed for sure, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and then the same thing because of that with Buffy. Then they came after Cody in Crownlands after as well.
Okay,
the same thing. And
I think I heard something about that. Yeah,
but again, what I've heard is like a lot of the community being very supportive to him, and again being very supportive to her, which I just find I don't know if other communities would be supportive back in those situations. But I guess what they're judging on is like sincerity and like what they knew at the time when they presented things. At least I hope so. I mean, I used to love Buffy St. Marie, but now it's like, again, it's like put that mark for me where I'm like, well, I hope she was never being disrespectful, because then it tarnishes it. It ruins it.
Yeah.
And then you get into marketing and business and you realize like people can do that to you out of spite. People will like try and tarnish your business or tarnish your reputation going forward. So really is all we have as artists.
Mm-hmm.
I try and tell people like, when my band or in the past, if people ask for a favor or whatever, like, can I use this because I forgot this as a common thread, like I'm always telling my band, yes, please let the person use it. Like I know it's a bummer. Like they should have remembered their throne to sit on as a drummer. They should have, but please let them, because it helps them so much, like that little bit of kindness for people before they perform. I find it's like make or break their performance. Okay, so is there a new album coming on the way?
Yeah, they're in like pre-production right now, and have a few musical structures down. We're trying to take it a little bit of a different direction than the classic Chicago blues sound. That's what I wanted the first album to start out with, my roots kind of thing, and then have a couple songs on there that leaned a bit more in the rock direction, like Bad for You and Through the Rain are a bit heavier tracks than the typical 1-4-5 blues progression, And but yeah, picturing the next album having a bit more blues rock like combination, and maybe a bit of southern rock style in there as well.
We talked a lot about your harp skills, but I was very impressed by your guitar playing. I am not a great guitar player, and I find I just use it to write. But like, you were pulling off some really cool little blues moves. Did you teach yourself all these little things that make it sound wicked like it was sounding?
More or less. Once, when I was learning slide guitar, actually I was trying to learn guitar, and then another family thing. My dad bought me a slide for Christmas one year, even though I didn't know how to use it, but he knew I was playing a lot of guitar. He's like, yeah, this is what the blues guys use, and I know you like playing blues, so learn how to use this thing. And I was horrible at first. I didn't know how to use the thing, and then at this point, there was a little bit of YouTube University available at my disposal by the time I started playing slide, and looked up a couple like things like just like the open tunings, for example, how to change the tuning of the guitar so it's a bit more slide friendly and this kind of stuff, and went from there, and then learned the licks and started like picking a few songs to learn how to sing and play, and then from there the lead moves. Some of it just experimenting, or some of it just watching like live footage or live concerts of like somebody playing slide. Like, okay, what's he doing here? How does he get this sound? Okay, he's messing around those frets. Let's go home and like fiddle around and see if I could figure out some licks in there.
So the blues were in you. Like, that's what I'm getting from this, is like they say this about people. Same with rock, and they'll say soul. You know, like, you've got soul, Warren, or whatever. Like you've got the blues in you. Like, it's just it's a real thing. It's because you could hear it tonight, and yeah, man, I'm glad that you're having this blues journey that's so wicked and like all your own. And the fact that you're singing, harmonica, playing guitar, and you're doing all three things great. And they're all going to like come to the equal level soon as well. Like,
that's what I'm pushing towards.
They're all, I know, like, I get it.
So tough.
I know. And it's easy for me to say, because a long time ago, I put down my guitar and said, I'm just going to sing. And so, but you're doing it. You're flying. It's like you're taking your hands off and you're riding the bike. You know, and I'm going, oh, he's doing it. And so I'm excited for you. And,
thanks, man.
And yeah, as it all just comes to the same level. And I think, yeah, maybe you underrate your guitar playing. I was really impressed with it.
I've been playing a long time, but it's not my main. I don't say it's my main instrument, because like harp is what I've been playing the longest, and what I could sit in with any band and be able to play. Like guitar. Right. Guitar, I know the songs I know, right, and I know how to like come up with some cool stuff, but I'm not at the same level where I could just jump in with any band and like hit me with a key, I'm good.
Yeah, you don't want to promote as BB King or whatever, you know. Like that's not your first, but I mean it's great.
But I do love to play it though.
Hell yeah, and it sounds really good. And vocally, I like what you're doing. I think you're developed and developing this character, this smoky voiced character, and I like it, man. It's very cool.
Thanks, man.
And just be confident, love it. I think it sounds great. And the more you lean into it, people are gonna love it. Like, that's the thing. You can't go wrong leaning into that. I mean,
you can't fake the blues.
Yeah, man, it's so true. And you've got it. You've got it, man. So this next album will be produced by Jason again, do you think, at Tone King Records, or another direction?
Possibly. They've recently moved, and I think they're in between resetting up their studio and all that kind of stuff, because they moved into a much smaller space. So I'm going to let them get caught up on that, and I'll have to touch base with him and see what kind of equipment he still has available and all this kind of stuff, or what his process is now, if he changed anything or not. Because I know when you have to downgrade, it's like you got to choose what stays and what gets sold and all that kind of stuff.
That's God, recording, and changing spaces.
It's all about the gear and recording.
Yeah, man, and knowing how to use it. That's the thing too.
Exactly.
Like, some people can have good gear, but if you don't know what it does right, it's like not very much use. I saw you have a wicked show coming up in April. That's a ways away, but still, I think I want to go to it. John Allaire show.
Oh yeah,
nice. Puts on at Quinn's, I think, right?
Yes.
And Quinn's is just a little bar, but man, the shows that he's booked are all fantastic. Like every single artist, and so I'm looking forward to that show for you. Do you have any other big shows coming up that you're looking forward to?
Let me think here. I have something in February in Spencerville for a Valentine's Day like evening kind of thing, dinner and a show kind of vibes, where they want like some chill, some laid back blues and some like romantic vibes and stuff like that, and with that more dancey music coming a bit later in the evening after dinner kind of thing, and progress from dinner and a show into a party kind of thing. So it should be a fun event. That's going to be down at Spencer City Joe's Bar and Grill.
Cool. Spencer City's Bar and Grill, very awesome. And you want to do some touring in the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. Actually, might be looking at signing on to a booking agency, because like for the past, in the past I've been doing all the booking myself, and it's starting to get kind of hard to keep up with doing all the booking and trying to write some new material, working a day job to pay the bills as well. And
You brought up some really good points tonight. People should, our young artists, I hope you were listening, because you've brought up some good, honest points, you know, talking about when people see a letterhead and, you know, they see a name that they recognize, it makes a difference.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That's a nice little piece of advice that you gave, in my opinion. And the same thing about what you just said. And another nice little tidbit, if you're listening out there, folks, if you're trying to figure out how to get ahead, it's not easy. And we're all facing these challenges of trying to book in a massive country.
Oh yeah,
and travel is just daunting. So, you know, my dream is going to UK or Germany, where it's like the population density is great, and you just go an hour drive and you've got a brand new million set of people, you know, or whatever it is.
I'd love to tour UK and Europe and stuff like that, just because it's like set up so little driving distance. Like if you drive like 3 hours and boom, you're already in like another major city, or even like a whole other country, maybe like over there. Whereas here you drive 3 hours, you're not even putting a dent in Ontario.
My buddies are doing Wayward Saints. They just booked, they're kind of again, Southern rock. So a little bit of that blues flavor coming through. And they just booked through Spain, like I think 10 or 11 dates like that through Spain. And I was like, that's so cool. I definitely think that's for me like a big dream, you know, now that I've was blessed to like get to play the Blues Fest stage and certain things like that. It's like your brain starts going like, well, now what? Now where do we go? You know,
so where are there other festivals like they said I could hit up?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the touring takes a lot of work for sure. Like not this past summer, but the summer before, I managed to get us on every weekend. We were in 2 different towns basically. So we were bouncing around through Ontario playing like Kitchener Blues Fest and a bunch of small towns like way up in Collingwood, Ontario, at the base of the Georgian Bay, and out to North Bay area and these kind of places. But to get that schedule that busy of 2 towns a weekend, 2 shows a weekend, I was spending like 7, 8 hours a day emailing, calling, like doing the legwork, like physically calling the bars. Who do I talk to for band booking, and like who do I show my demo stuff to get in there and all this kind of stuff, and then lining up those stops. Like, okay, North Bay is near this other one,
right?
Living Tavern, which is just like, so you have to try to get them both on like the Friday and Saturday, which is a whole other challenge on its own.
Yeah. North Bay. What do you find like in the smaller communities? I find people are like very receptive in general, like happy that there's entertainment coming.
There's usually not much else going on. So whenever there's like the Living Tavern is a prime example of that. It's a very in the middle of like cottage country kind of thing, or not like very, very small area. It's all bush all around, and then you play a winter show there, for example, and there's like 100 skidoos out front, and the place is packed, jammed with like people, and there's nothing else to do, and then live music kicks off, and then there's having the best time because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, like when we went through North Bay and Sudbury, the guitarists in the Taming Sorry at the time were very superstitious.
Okay.
And I don't know why, if they're superstitious or just stupid stitious. But but basically they were, you know, we were driving to North Bay and Miguel was going, he's very heavily French. So sorry for my bad accent, but he's going, you know, I can sense ghosts in this town. There's a lot of ghosts in this town. I don't like it. Like everywhere I can feel it, there's been something bad. And I was like, stop it. Everything's fine here.
You're psyching us out before the show, man.
And then the other guitar player's like, I feel the vibes too, man. Like, I feel them too. I'm like, shut up. The both of you go to the truck and be quiet. Like, you're both out of your minds, you know? But
just getting each other all built up. It's like, did you hear that? Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, exactly. And then so we went to Sudbury, and it was like we were at the Colson, and we realized like the strip club is like right beside the bar of the stage, and it's like an open door. And the band that was opening for us, they were all under 19, so they all had like X's on their hands. And, like,
no drinks.
Yeah, and when they walk by the door, they're like this, you know? We're like walking by like, we'll watch your set. We're just going in here to say hello to everyone. And then we'll get back out. They're like, sure you will. But yeah, I love it. Going anywhere. Like people say, oh, it's not a tour unless you do this many dates. Like, I don't care. Like send me for 3 days. Send me for even 2 days. I love it. Like it's just getting out there and meeting new people.
Yeah, playing for new crowds is exciting.
It's so exciting.
It's like, will they like my stuff? Will they not? Let's find out.
Will somebody come up to me and go like, I know your music? And you realize like, what? You know, and like they're buying your stuff or whatever. It's like these cool experiences that it goes I know it's like we want to make money. We need to make a living and all that. And folks, gosh, we need to fix art somehow. But I mean, we do get these amazing experiences, which are just irreplaceable and money can't really buy them.
That's true.
So that's what I love about it. Let me take you back in time again. Give me a strong musical memory. Maybe it's your first musical memory ever. You're like a kid and it's a song, it's something that's stuck in your mind and you remember it.
So here's something that goes right back to like childhood. My parents used to have a Dodge Caravan, and in the very back of this, like the trunk area, and there's like the seats, so you could climb over the seats into the trunk as a kid. And then the speakers are like attached to the trunk door. So like right up against my back, and they'd be blaring like AC/DC on the radio, and I'd be just jamming out in my mind. And I was pretending I'm singing and playing on stage kind of thing. And like a rock star in my brain as a little kid, just jamming out in the back of the minivan. And lo and behold, I guess that's where they had the what is it? The something got planted. The idea got planted. The seed got planted deep in my brain, and then emerged way later when I was an adult. It's like, you know what? I always as a kid, I dreamt of being a rock star. I want to just try to go hit the stage, see what happens.
I used to think about it with Elvis, and then later on, like with other artists, I would think about it. I'd play with it as just an imaginary idea. But I didn't, even though I was an actor and like doing plays and stuff, I still did not see it as a possibility until a little bit later on. And then I had to fail at certain things and then realize, oh, okay, maybe this is something. And then the spiritual connection you get through music is there's nothing like it, you know, and the connection you make with people and again, the community you found yourself in. I think you're blessed. I think you're in a great community.
Very, very lucky.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And your art is shining through. That's why you're in a great community. Like I would say, like if your art wasn't good, I'd be like, good luck getting noticed, you know, because your friends are pretty good. But I think that's great. You're sticking out. You're coming through. People are loving it. People should be supportive. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, man. It was a fun time, fun to play some tunes, and nice to meet you finally. Like I said, I've been a fan of the Taming Sorry stuff for a little while, caught some shows. I was like, this is some rockin' tunes I could get behind. Maybe I got to do a show with these guys in the future, because blues and our high energy blues goes pretty good with rock and roll.
Dude, I wanted to sing with you. We'll have to do it in the future because, I would love to sing along with you, and I'd love to have you come play a harp on a track. Like, hell yeah. Like, we did, one of our tracks, Ran Out of Money, did okay this year, and that's probably our bluesiest track, you know? Like,
nice, I'll have to check that one out.
Just 4/4, you know, the good old stuff, and maybe it's not 4/4, maybe we trick. No, it is. But anyways, because sometimes we try and trick out of it, you know, and because it's rock, so we'll like go through it, but then get out of that timing pattern and move into something else for the chorus or whatever. I mean, that's another question for you. Songwriting, how has that been? Like, have you had to do this always by yourself, or have you found people to co-write with?
Well, for the first album was all writing solo kind of thing. Like, funny story, like to Cut Me Loose, that song that I've played in the pre-show jam that I just pulled there. Finishing the lyrics for that song, like writing the whole song as it was. I had a job at the time as a parking security / attendant, where I would sit in a company vehicle at the outdoors at the top of a road, watching cars park with that, looking for the little tag kind of thing. So I go, do they have it? Or they don't have it. Okay, I got to kick this person out and like drive up with my little orange light. But anyhow, it's a lot of downtime because you're there like 7 hours a day. And then after everyone parks in the morning and goes to work, you're doing nothing all day. So I'd bring my guitar in and start writing tunes and singing.
Nice.
And that's where I started writing Cut Me Loose, came up with a shuffle and started with the words, got like 2 verses down. And then I'm like, hit that wall, you know, like I don't know what the third verse is supposed to say. And then out of nowhere, I'm like, I go back to the office down the road to clock out at the end of the day. I'm driving up the ramp in the parking garage, and it just hits me like a ton of bricks in the head. There's the words. I got to pull over and like write them down before they go away. Like mid drive, I'm just like singing to myself, and then I find myself singing, oh wait, those words weren't in the song before. What were I saying here? Oh, that works. write this down now before we
Right?
forget it, you know?
Yeah, Chris Cornell said like he woke up and he had Black Hole Sun playing
And-
music, and then when he was driving, all of a sudden all the words just came,
That's
just like, and he was like, don't forget the words, you know. And so
Yeah.
it's a real thing, you know, like the inspiration, and then you try and trigger it sometimes, and it'll be like, no, I won't be triggered, and you're like, damn it.
That's the most frustrating part, I find, like, especially lyrically, for
Yes.
coming up for words and melodies kind of thing. I could come up with cool riffs and like, oh, that's pretty much a whole song right there. Now what do I put over this? And then like when you're trying to force yourself to output it somehow, it doesn't happen. And the next thing you know, it driving or when you're least expected, boom, here's all the inspiration. Capture it without being able to capture it.
Yeah, I
So
find
you-
I try and
You're on a 417 going 110, you have to capture it.
exactly. I find I'll try and write too much and then redact it back
Mhm.
and simplify. And that way it's like I get out whatever I was thinking. If it was stupid or whatever, it gets out. But then I'll go through it and I'll be like, don't need those words. Don't need these.
Yeah,
You know, and it starts to become tighter, I feel.
yeah, for sure.
And
The editing process.
exactly. And then I want my bandmates so much to like give me insight on it and tell me if it's good or not, but they don't care. Like that's not their connection, you know? Like my bass player Alex will always help me go through and edit and make sure that things are fine and good, and make great suggestions. But it's pretty much, you know, it comes back to that, to the lyricist. Whoa. You know, like I'm supposed to come up with the words.
Force the inspiration, make it happen.
That's
Live,
right.
make it happen live right now.
That's right. Improv. Here we go. Exactly. So you were saying again one last time, everybody, Through the Rain, go check it out. And is there again? I just want to ask, when's the next time again people can see you live?
The next one for sure is the Spencerville thing in February.
Okay.
I'm gonna try. I'm in the middle of about to get back on calling on all my spring bookings and all that kind of stuff, and try to fill up the schedule as usual. We're probably going to be down at the Atomic Rooster in March as well. I got to confirm the date as well. We've played there many times, and it's
Love it.
one of our main stomping grounds in Ottawa. So we'll be heading back there for March, maybe February if they got something. But I know it's a little bit close in distance, so it'll probably be more of a March booking.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you again so much to Lyle Odjick for coming in today, talking music, talking about Lyle. Is it Odjick or Odjick?
Odjick.
Lyle Odjick and the Northern Steam. Go check them out on everything. I'm sure they're on Spotify, Apple Music, you name it. Go check it out. Keep your ear down for the new music. Go see them at the Atomic Rooster. And yeah, thank you so much. And thank you out there. And we'll see you all again next time on All Worn Out. Bye-bye, everybody.